Hello, and welcome back. Day two. So I know it was a little bit wordy yesterday, and for those of you that got through the exercises, congratulations. There's something really cathartic and something amazing about putting pen to paper, which is why I like to include worksheets and I get people thinking. Because sometimes the way to make change is actually altering the way that we do things. So it's about a pattern interrupt. And I wanted you to think on a slightly different level because we want to interrupt the patterns that are already in place. If you've got some good things going on, great, we're going to build on them. But the things that need to change, we need to completely alter the way you think, start thinking things from a different angle, and kind of get into real transformation. And what I've found is there's some amazing diets out there. And I've had people that have jumped into like some restrictive calorie diets. I've had people jump on the keto thing. I have had, the South Beach diet for those of us that have been around for a little while. You know, people see success, but sometimes it's about, I can do something for a short period of time, but then it doesn't last. And so, what I really want to teach and what I like to do is teach something that's going to last you forever. This is not about going restricted and then somehow finding a way to maintain it. This is about lasting lifelong changes. So if you are looking for something that's going to be quick fix, this is probably not for you. However, if you can dial down and do well and really focus in on our one piece at a time, you can have amazing results quickly. I've had a couple of clients lose 100 pounds in less than a year taking the steps because it was literally about one step at a time. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today. I know I alluded yesterday to, when we try to change everything at once, it's almost all consuming. And for most of us, we just don't have the time to do that. And our brains don't work with changing everything at once. So, I was talking to someone the other day and owning myself that I've actually taken on too much. And I realize it because I'm giving about 70% in about six different areas instead of giving 100% anywhere. And that can be so true when it comes to our physical health. Like we jump on these diets, we give 100% for a few days. And then the minute we can't give it 100%, we're making mistakes or we're falling off the wagon. And then that creates that whole downward spiral. So we talked yesterday about, following through on promises to ourselves. Well, when we get so used to breaking them, the minute we break them again, we just give up for most of us. So what's different about the way I teach is, and why I don't love doing 5-day programs, but I want to give you a taste of what we actually dig into is I don't want to give you everything all at once. And that's not to say that it's not good to have the knowledge. However, the more we know, the more places there are for our brains to focus. Whereas when we focus on one piece at a time, we get actually really, really good at it. And then we can layer the next piece. So our program is actually built on that sort of principle where we lay foundational steps, if you will. And it's like, one of my favorite quotes is you can't reach the top of the staircase without taking your first step. And I love that. And I love the imagery of a staircase because if you try to leap up to the top, chances are you're going to come tumbling down. And sometimes when we skip steps, you know, trouble happens. And one of my favorite things a mentor of mine says is stay in the step you're in. And I think for so many of us, we run into this struggle of, okay, well, what's next and what's next and what's next? And we're so focused, and myself included, I'm calling myself out on focusing what's next that we almost skip where we are. And so I really like to work with people and kind of, okay, what is the step we're in? And let's get really good at it or really comfortable, or at least make it really familiar before we add something else. So yesterday we sort of talked about that self-integrity piece, and we talked about, setting your goals and things like that. Well, today I want to talk about something called the power promise. So this goes directly back to your integrity. And when I work with clients, we set a different power promise every week. And why I do it every week is because the brain actually needs to do something a number of times before it gets it. So it's almost like the first couple times we're meant to mess it up. We're meant to kind of need to fumble our ways through it. So when we make a power promise with our clients or in the Me Project program, for some people it's drinking water. Like I have some people who just don't drink water. So we find out what works. And I had a client recently, and her goal was literally to drink 1 cup, 250 mils of water every day. And she really struggled. It was not something that was in her routine. It was not a pattern that she had. She had already decided how much she hates water. So we came up with some creative ways to work through it. But I'm telling you right now, her power promise became having a half a cup, 125 mils if you're in Canada or UK, in the morning, and then 125 mils in the late afternoon and evening. And it was when she brushed her teeth, in the morning and with dinner. And we literally started with that. And I know for some of you, you're like, oh my gosh, that's next to nothing. But when you're not in that habit, it is not a small change. It is a massive, massive change. So her power promise was to do that for a week. What happened? First day, she did okay. Second day, she did it in the morning and completely forgot in the evening. No big deal, right? That's why we work on it for a week. Third day, she did it in the morning, did it in the evening, but it was a struggle. Fourth day came a little easier. Fifth day, she got distracted in the morning, went to work without brushing her teeth, and completely forgot the morning. By Saturday, things were starting to shift. So when we got around to the beginning of the week again, we evaluated. Is this something that we need to do for another week? Or is this something we can add to? And everybody works at their own pace. Everybody works through things at their time. And this piece was so important to her. And she ended up choosing to do another week of it. But that was her promise to herself, was to follow through. So remember yesterday, I talked about specific 125 mils before 10 a.m., before 6 p.m. And this is how it's going to look. So it was a yes or a no. Yes, it happened, or no, it didn't happen. But that was her promise to herself. And when it didn't happen a couple of days because life happened, we're going to talk about this another day, but it wasn't the end of the world, right? We didn't let that set us backwards. It was just okay, what happened? So that is what I want you to start considering. As we go through these videos, what could your power promise for today be? So I'm going to get into something in a few minutes. So maybe it's around that, but maybe your power promise is literally to get outside for 5 minutes. Maybe your power promise is to make dinner tonight and not order out because you're busy. Like, seriously, this can be anything, but we really, really focus in the Me Project on power promises. And when we are specific about what we're working on, we can focus on that and things start to happen and we can let go of all the other pieces. If you do extra, you know what? That's great. But the goal is that you're going to hit this promise no matter what. So like I said yesterday, we're going to be drinking from a fire hose a little bit, but I want to talk to you today about beverages because I see this time and time and time again. This is where so many hidden calories are and where so many mistakes can get made, or so much unawareness, I should say. So your homework, if you choose to accept it, if you'd like to make a power promise around this, is to write down everything that is liquid that goes into your mouth. So if it's water, great. Give me a rough idea. You don't have to be perfect. If you have a water bottle, you can say just one of my water bottles. If you go through the drive-thru at Starbucks, Tim Hortons, anywhere else, and you have a large double-double, write that down. If you have a glass of orange juice, write that down. If you pick up an energy drink because you are exhausted and it's 2 o'clock and you're having the mid-afternoon slump, write it down. So I want to challenge you to write down the liquid that goes into your mouth. That is the quickest way that our body absorbs sugar. And if you have the courage, once you write it down and you get to the end of the day, if you've stopped for any of these drinks, anything that is not water, I want you to look up the amount of sugar and the amount of calories in it. I just want to bring awareness. This is not about judging your habits. This is about bringing awareness, because we have found after a ton of research that one of the easiest things to switch is what we drink. So sometimes it's replacing one drink with water. Sometimes it's replacing one drink with an alternate. And yes, okay, I have people ask me this all the time. I'm a Coke drinker. I'm a Pepsi drinker. I really need to cut back because I realize I have so much sugar. I am not totally ready to replace it with water. Is Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi or Coke Zero, Pepsi Zero, is that okay? And you know what? The answer is up to you. What's better? Okay, artificial sweeteners are not ideal. We can be honest with that. Anything artificial is not amazingly ideal. But if this is a habit that you've had 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or more, sometimes that step is a necessary step forward. As crazy as that may sound, sometimes it's about, maybe we talked about the pattern interrupt. It's about shifting and not having that much sugar. Yes, we would work on then alleviating the artificial sweeteners, but sometimes it's about taking that step first. So I don't want you to judge yourself. I don't want you to do that. I just want to start bringing awareness. I've had so many people have some major ahas of, oh my gosh, I am drinking 800, 900, 1200 calories a day just in what I drink. Okay, so now that we know what's going on, we can start to make some adjustments, right? And everybody is different. It doesn't look the same for everybody. Sugar is an addiction. I'm going to come out and say it. So, you know what? Just going cold turkey, yes, does work for some people and it's necessary for some people, but it is not always appropriate for everybody. So sometimes it's about, okay, how can we change this? Can we challenge you? If you're having 1200 calories a day in beverages, how can we get that under 1,000? And then people make power promises around that. So it's not a one size fits all. I promise you that. Lifestyle changes are not always easy, but they are possible. So that is your homework today. I want you to really start looking at your beverages. If you're somebody that's like, yeah, actually, I've addressed that before, that's not something I struggle with, then what's a power promise you can make? We're all very, very self aware if we're willing to be honest with ourselves. So, what's a power promise you can make today to start taking you towards that goal that you have, that vision that you have for your future? And same as yesterday, if you need help at all with this, please reach out. I'm happy to walk through this with you and help you find something that's appropriate for you. I'm always available. And if nothing else, let me know how this video landed. Yes, it worked. No, it didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh my goodness, this made me aware of something. I'd love to hear how things are landing for you. So awesome. Power promise. I'd love to know what it is. Homework is beverages. So you're writing down everything that you put that's liquid in your mouth today. Or if it's, you're watching this later in the day, do it tomorrow. And if you have the courage, please look up the sugar and the calories in it. Awesome. Good luck with that. Let me know how it goes, and we will see you again tomorrow.